Hi, and thanks for joining us to listen to this short video about how to use the ActivInspire resource pack. So in the previous video that you've watched, we went through how to update our software, and part of that was making sure that we had the ActivInspire resource pack downloaded. So let's spend some time looking at how we would utilize that resource pack. First of all, where is it? So you'll notice here that I'm using ActivInspire Primary, and the resource pack can be accessed through this icon on my toolbar called the Resource Browser. So by selecting this there, I bring up a toolbar on the bottom of my page which I can access through this up arrow, and it will bring up, my shared resources, and my resource pack is the bottom one, it's the subjects. If you're using ActivInspire in the primary skin, things are slightly different. The actual content is exactly the same, but let's ensure that you know where to find it. ActivInspire Studio, it may be that on your particular settings, the resource browser is in exactly the same place. If it is, fantastic. If you're not seeing it on your toolbar, then please go to View and then Browsers, and that will pop in your browser box at the side. Oops, and the icon will appear at the top here. The view of the resources in Studio is also slightly different. So let's just review that before we move forward. Instead of having to open up the resource pack like I did here, yours will appear in this browser format down the left hand side of your page. So the folders and files are going to be named exactly the same, the content is exactly the same, but you're just viewing it slightly differently. By clicking into each of these folders, then the resources are going to appear in a vertical line as opposed to horizontal. Again, content is exactly the same. So let's have a look about what is actually in these folders. So again, in my primary skin, I'm just going to open it up here and I'm going to go and see all the folders that I have examples for. So the extra resource pack that you downloaded was actually this subjects folder here. We're going to explore all these folders in some level of depth, but the subject folder was the extra one. If you're not seeing the subject folder, just take the time to look into the My Resource section and see if it's moved in here, and make sure that we are clicked on the shared resource folder. If subject still isn't there, go back to the first video and download that particular resource pack. Okay, so let's delve straight in. So you'll see here that we have each of these folders set out for us. Each of them contains specific clip art images or templates or activities that you can use to build content with your class. So we'll start at the top with activities and templates and quickly have a nosy in. So you'll see here we've pre-built some activities that you can use with your students. So everything from number grids, everything appears down the bottom. To bring that particular object into my page, I have two options. I can use my pen and touch feature if I'm standing at my board or panel and just drag that particular thing onto the page, like that. Or I can use the insert button here and insert into flipchart, and that works for every single resource, whichever you feel more comfortable with. So here I have my number grid. It may be that I'm looking at number grids, or actually I just want a very simple, I'm trying to find one here, so symmetry. So I'm looking at this in maths and I want to bring that particular activity into the page. Again, remember it's either pen and touch and drag, or select and then insert into flipchart, and you've got a symmetry activity here. Okay. There's some more activities for learner response under that particular file. The templates are absolutely fantastic. They give us an idea. If you're really familiar with PowerPoint, or you're really like keeping the look and feel of your lessons all consistent, then the templates are really going to help you. And these can range from everything from just adding a title and having your text box ready, all the way up to being able to have your own timeline. This is designed for you to drag these out so that you can create your own timeline. I missed that one. There we go. Or if you scroll along, so if you see this scroll bar active, I can scroll along and I can find activities right the way down to preloaded tables where I can add the graph and I can get my students to add the data as we're looking in. I really like these. I think they're really simple, really easy to use, and they're so great for saving time but keeping things looking and feeling a certain way. There are some themes in here, so if you like the idea of these, you can go under brick, paper or sky, and you can find similar things under there with a different background. Okay. If we go into the backgrounds folder then, this is where we find some things to pop on the background of our pages so that we're not looking at a plain white screen. So if I just reset my page here, I can have everything from illustrations, so maybe we're talking creative writing, and I can pull this up, and this is going to be the setting for our lesson, and we are looking at what could happen while we're on our picnic, what food could we bring, who might we meet, etc. Or it's also where I can find paper, so I can bring in the different types of paper that I might use in the classroom. Hopefully now you're getting a feel. Grids has its own section, so I'm not going to go through each of these, but we've got graph paper here, so you can bring each of those up. There are lesson building tools, so these are things like the buttons and icons that you'll find in the activities, so you can create your own. There's also some tables and scales you can have a nosy around. Resource packs is anything that you have downloaded from the ClassFlow Marketplace site. So we're going to come to that later in this series of videos, but they will all download here. We've got some sound files that you can bring in, and then you've got the subjects folder. So let's spend a bit of time looking at the subjects folder. In subjects, what we've tried to do is divide it up into each of the subject or topic areas that we associate across the curriculum globally. It's not going to cover everything that you have, but it does allow you to cover all the main sections. English comes under language, arts and literacy. Anything that we have that doesn't sit into a nice little subject topic is going to appear under general. So things like that we have here, animals, we have clothing and accessories, food and drink, transport, people, etc. And again, it's really simple to build a nice activity. So if I clear my page, I can go into my animals section and I can very easily bring up some images of animals that I can use with my class to talk about the similarities or the differences that we have between the different groups. So are they able to distinguish between the two? So let's bring a bear in there because we're going to resize something, and maybe a snake at the bottom. So I might have all these preloaded on my page, so I have the discussion, and you can see how quick and easy it was for me to bring those in. Once we have a resource in the page, by selecting it, it brings up the object edit menu and the marquee handles so that I can make that bigger or smaller. I can move it around the page and I can resize it at any point. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. Go back into the folders. There. One of the things that's fantastic about this file system is that at the top here we have a search bar. So by typing something in at the top, I can let the software to do the searching for me. So if you do have the time, have a nosy around yourself. But if you don't, use the search bar. You see there anything that's tagged with the word apple, including pineapple, came up down the bottom. And it is about playing around with your search word. For example, if I typed in sun, I get lots of different pictures here, sunflower, images of the sun, and then sun in space and solar eclipse. But actually, if I was looking for weather, then I'm going to get a variety of things. And again, anytime that you see this scroll bar, please just scroll along because you'll see all the different areas. Okay, so utilize the search bar and the play to help you with that. If you have lots of imagery already on your cameras, maybe you've taken some pictures on your phone, you might have things that you've already loaded onto your desktop, then you can also access these through the folders. So if you use the ... at the side, it takes you into your particular laptop space. So anything that you have on your computer or connected to your computer, then you have access to here. So if I go to my pictures, save pictures, and then select folder, I'm not actually sure there's anything in that folder, but they will appear all the way along the bottom. Do be aware that anything that you do that way, they can be really big folders, so do be prepared to resize, which is why I wanted to point out the marquee handles to you. Select the particular thing and resize it so that you can make it fit on your particular page. Well, I hope that has been useful for you. The resource browser itself is an absolutely fantastic tool. There's about 1,500 imagery, clip art, resources in there that you can use as the jigsaw piece puzzles to make your own lessons. So do have a look around. I can't encourage that enough. And thank you for listening.